Hey everyone, and welcome to the Explainer for the St. Paul 7th grade Life Science curriculum. I'm so incredibly excited to guide students and parents alike through this material today. If you're someone who loves figuring out how the pieces of a giant puzzle fit together in a logical, structured way, you are in the exact right place. Over the course of this Explainer, we're taking a journey of epic proportions. We're going to start at the microscopic scale and then zoom all the way out to the entire globe.
To kick things off, seriously, take a second and just look at your own hands. What makes you, well, you? It's kind of mind-blowing to realize that those hands, and literally everything else about you, are made up of trillions of tiny, completely invisible building blocks. We're going to start our learning journey right there, with the absolute tiniest elements of life, and continually zoom out over the course of the year.
Okay, let's dive right in. The specific focus of this curriculum is life science. Basically, that's the study of living organisms, their life processes, and their inner relationships. Think of it as the ultimate rulebook for how life survives, thrives, and interacts on planet Earth.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, the microscopic building blocks. Second, from bacteria to animals. Third, inside the human body. Fourth, ecosystems and Earth's balance. And finally, your journey begins now.
We're looking at a massive 35 weeks of curriculum based on the St. Paul Pacing Guide. We start with a really solid 9 weeks on structure and function. That's followed by 10 weeks exploring incredible biological diversity, from microbes to complex animals. Then, we spend 10 weeks mapping out the human body, before finishing up with a 6-week focus on ecosystems. It's just a beautifully structured marathon of learning.
All right, part 1, the microscopic building blocks. Life's structure and function. We have to begin with the fundamental unit of life itself, the cell. The cell is the basic, smallest unit of life. Inside it, special structures like the nucleus and the cell membrane have very distinct jobs that dictate how the whole cell functions. And you won't just be reading about this in a book. For example, in the Level B investigation, you'll actually use microscopes to identify specific plant cell structures and create your own functional models. It's all about understanding how these tiny individual parts work together to keep an organism alive.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how the curriculum connects those microscopic cells to the much bigger picture of heredity. You'll compare asexual reproduction, where a single parent produces a genetically identical clone, to sexual reproduction, which requires 2 parents and results in genetically diverse offspring. You'll even get into Gregor Mendel's classic experiments with pea plants to see exactly how specific traits are passed down through generations. It perfectly illustrates how structure dictates outcomes right down to the genetic level.
Moving right along to part 2, from bacteria to animals, we're exploring biological diversity.
Just think about the sheer variety of life out there. In Units 2 and 3, we take a completely impartial look at how life is categorized based on key characteristics and roles. You'll classify simple, microscopic bacteria and viruses. Some are super helpful, while others act as disease agents. Then you'll check out the producers of our world, the seedless and seed-bearing plants. Finally, you'll study the consumers, which are animals ranging from simple invertebrates all the way up to highly complex vertebrates with totally distinct behavioral patterns.
Let's zero in on those producers for a second. The primary energy processes for plants happen in 2 really clean steps. First is photosynthesis, where plants harness energy directly from sunlight. Second is cellular respiration, where they actually utilize that stored energy to grow and respond to their environment. And again, you aren't just memorizing definitions here. You'll get to dissect a real flower to see the physical structures that make plant reproduction and these energy processes possible.
When we shift gears to animals, the focus really becomes survival strategies. This includes their physical adaptations, internal systems like circulation and digestion, behavioral responses, and reproduction. To truly understand those behavioral responses, you'll conduct hands-on investigations to gather real empirical evidence on how environmental factors trigger specific behaviors. For instance, you'll review an awesome investigation where an earthworm is exposed to light for 5 separate trials, measuring whether it moves to a dark, damp towel within 30 seconds.
Part 3. Inside the human body, systems working together.
10. That is a highly significant number for this year. 10 full weeks. That makes this the longest single unit of the entire academic year. It's dedicated entirely to understanding how your own body functions as an incredibly complex, interconnected machine.
Your body relies on all these key interacting subsystems. We've got the skeletal and muscular systems for movement, the digestive and excretory systems handling nutrition and waste, the respiratory and circulatory systems teaming up to deliver oxygen and pump blood, the nervous and endocrine systems acting as your control centers and processing senses, and of course, your immune system defending against disease. The logic here is just brilliant. No system works solo. They constantly build on each other to support the total life processes of you as an organism.
So, the crucial takeaway for this entire unit boils down to one word: homeostasis. It's the delicate internal balance your body works tirelessly to maintain, keeping you alive and healthy no matter what is happening on the outside. You'll investigate this firsthand by monitoring your real-time breathing rates during physical activity. You'll even design functional models of the digestive system to see exactly how nutrients are absorbed to maintain that delicate equilibrium.
Part 4. Ecosystems and Earth's Balance, the Interactions of Life.
According to the Next Generation Science Standards, or NGGS, you'll be spending your time analyzing the delicate balance of these core ecosystem components. You'll see how populations and communities make up 35% of the focus, followed closely by biomes, natural resources, and the flow of energy through complex food webs. It's a great way to visualize how matter and energy are constantly being transferred between producers, consumers, and decomposers in the real world.
To really understand an ecosystem, you have to look at the intersection of biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors are the living elements, like the plants, animals, and bacteria we talked about earlier. Abiotic factors are the non-living elements, like water, soil minerals, and the climate. You'll actually get to create biomes in a jar. You'll even tackle a challenge task where you plan a soil-type plant growth investigation to witness firsthand how these living and non-living factors constantly interact. All of this builds up to one massive, essential question. How do organisms, resources, and environments influence one another over time? You'll use empirical evidence to evaluate this deeply, and, viewing the data entirely neutrally and impartially, you'll also look at human impact. You'll analyze how human actions, our technologies, and our management of natural resources, like fossil fuels and water, ultimately affect this broader environmental balance.
And finally, Part 5. Your journey begins now, thinking like a scientist.
Throughout this entire year, you are absolutely not just sitting back and memorizing a list of facts from a textbook. You are actively training to be a scientist. You'll be leaning heavily on core NGSS practices, developing scientific models, analyzing data, and constructing arguments from evidence. This is what we call the Claim Evidence Reasoning, or CER framework. You'll start with Level A matching of claims, evidence, and reasoning. And remember that earthworm light investigation? You'll actually use that 30-second response test as a worked CER model to learn exactly how to construct a rock-solid argument from empirical evidence. You'll even write a hypothetical CER for your plant growth challenge.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative question to ponder. How will your actions today impact the broader biome tomorrow? As you prepare to step into the classroom for your very first lab investigations in 7th grade life science, remember that every tiny structure has a purpose and absolutely everything is connected. Get ready to observe, experiment, and think critically. It's going to be a fantastic year of discovery. So parents, here's a quick check for understanding you can do at home. Ask your student tonight how a simple earthworm observation translates into thinking like a true scientist. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and have a great year.